The copper chisel strikes limestone. Again, again. The rhythm echoes across the quarry like thunder. Dust rises in golden clouds as teams of workers carve grooves into the massive cliff face. Close-up of the chisel biting deeper. Stone fragments scatter, sweat drips onto hot rock. The groove widens with each synchronized strike. This is how mountains are broken. Workers hammer wooden wedges into the carved lines. The sound of mallet on wood punctuates the desert air. Water is poured over the wedges, soaking into the grain. The crack comes like a gunshot. The stone splits perfectly along the groove. Workers cheer silently, arms raised. Another block is born, 2.5 tons of solid limestone cut by human hands. Stone pounders grind against the rough surfaces. The scraping sound fills the quarry. Workers smooth each face with meticulous precision. The block must be perfect. Copper saws slice through limestone with abrasive sand. Back and forth, back and forth. The cutting sound is hypnotic, ancient technology creating precision that will last millennia. The finished block gleams in the sun. Workers inspect every edge, every corner. It passes. Red ochre marks identify its destination. Another block ready for the impossible journey ahead. But this is only limestone. For the king's chamber, they need something stronger. 800 kilometers south at Aswan, workers face a different beast entirely. The Aswan granite cliffs glow red-brown in the harsh sunlight. This stone is harder, denser, more resistant. Here, copper is useless. They need dolerite pounders. A worker raises the heavy stone overhead. It crashes down on granite. The impact reverberates. Again, again, again. The granite pulverizes slowly, grudgingly giving way. Multiple workers pound in rhythm. The sound is deafening. Progress is measured in millimeters. One block takes weeks to extract, but they need these massive stones. Close-up of hands gripping the pounder. Blisters burst and bleed. Muscles tremble with exhaustion. This is the price they pay for immortality. Finally, the crack. The massive granite block breaks free. 70 tons of solid stone. Workers collapse around it, chests heaving. This single block will become a ceiling slab that holds millions of tons. Now comes the greater challenge. How do you move millions of tons across desert and river? The answer lies in ingenuity born from necessity. Massive wooden sledges are constructed, thick beams capable of bearing impossible weight. Ropes as thick as a man's arm are secured to the front. The engineering is simple but brilliant. The limestone block is levered onto the sledge. Wooden poles groan under the strain. The block settles with a thud that shakes the ground. It's locked in place, ready to move. Workers pour water from clay vessels onto the sand ahead. The wet sand compacts, creating the perfect surface. The physics work flawlessly. Ancient science in action. 50 men grab the ropes. An overseer raises his drum. The first beat sounds. The workers lean into the ropes as one. Nothing happens. Another beat. They pull harder. The sledge lurches forward. Inch by inch, the massive block begins to slide. The grinding sound of wood on wet sand fills the air. They're moving. Against all logic, they're moving. The journey across the desert is brutal. The sun blazes overhead without mercy. Men collapse and are replaced. But the blocks never stop moving. The rhythm of the drum never ceases. Aerial view shows the convoy. Dozens of sledges moving in parallel across golden sand. A procession of stones that seems to defy nature itself. The supply line stretches to the horizon. They'd build ramps across uneven terrain. Packed mud and debris create pathways where none existed. The sledges are dragged up impossible inclines. Nothing stops this momentum. At the Nile, everything changes. Massive barges wait at the riverbank. The blocks must be transferred. Wooden levers and ramps bridge the gap between land and water. The granite block is levered onto a barge. The vessel groans and settles dangerously low. Water laps at the deck edges. It looks impossible, but it holds. Dozens of oarsmen take their positions. The rowing begins in perfect synchronization. The splash of oars, the creak of wood. The barge moves against the current during flood season when the water runs high. The journey takes weeks. Multiple barges form a convoy up the Nile. The river becomes a highway of stone, an endless procession carrying the bones of a pyramid north to Giza. At Giza's docks, the blocks are unloaded. More sledges wait. The final kilometer begins. From river to plateau, the stones must climb. The supply lines never stop. Hundreds of sledges moving like a vast colony of ants, each carrying its precious cargo. The organization is military in its precision. Supervisors track every block. They know its origin, its destination, its purpose. Papyrus scrolls record everything. Ancient project management, controlling chaos through order. The blocks reach the pyramid site. The foundation has been prepared. Perfectly level bedrock, cleared and marked. The first stones are positioned with astronomical precision. But how do you lift these blocks hundreds of feet into the air? The answer spirals around the growing pyramid, massive ramps of mud brick and limestone chips. Workers build the ramps as the pyramid rises. The ramps grow with the structure, extending longer and steeper. They wrap around the pyramid like a serpent ascending to heaven. Teams drag blocks up these ramps. The higher they climb, the harder it becomes. The angle steepens, the air thins, but they never stop climbing. At the top, teams wait with wooden levers. The block arrives. Now comes the most crucial moment. It must fit perfectly. No margin for error exists. They guide it with copper tools. Inch it left, inch it right. The block hovers over its final position. Workers strain against wooden poles, making microscopic adjustments. The mortar is applied, a thin layer that allows final positioning. The block begins its descent, slowly, controlled. The grinding sound vibrates through the structure. It slides into place. The fit is perfect. The gap between blocks is less than a millimeter. You cannot slide a knife between them. This precision repeats 2 million times. Teams work in rotating shifts. Day becomes night becomes day. The sound of stone on stone never stops. The pyramid grows around the clock, rising toward the stars. Internal passages are carved as they build. The grand gallery takes shape, a soaring corbelled ceiling that seems to defy gravity. Each stone cantilevers slightly inward. The king's chamber is constructed from solid granite. 9 massive ceiling slabs, each weighing 50 tons. How they lifted these remains debated even today. They use internal ramps, external ramps, levers, and pure human determination. The blocks rise impossibly high. The chamber is sealed within millions of tons of limestone. Relieving chambers are built above. 5 of them, distributing the immense weight. Every detail serves a purpose. Every stone is part of a greater calculation. Years pass. The pyramid grows taller. Workers age. Sons work beside fathers. This is a generational project. Lives are spent watching this mountain rise from nothing. The worker village evolves. Temporary tents become permanent buildings. Streets form. A city emerges to support this wonder. 10,000 people live here now. Bakeries work around the clock. The smell of fresh bread fills the air constantly. Workers are paid in bread, beer, and grain. They eat better than most Egyptians. Coppersmiths forge new tools continuously. The chisels dull quickly against limestone. The sound of hammering on anvil never ceases. A steady supply of sharp tools keeps progress moving. Medical tents treat the injured. Bones are set with surprising skill. Wounds are stitched and bandaged. Some workers die, crushed by falling stones or overcome by heat. But there is also joy. Evening fires bring workers together. They share meals, tell stories, laugh at the day's mishaps. Beer flows. Camaraderie bonds them across years. Teams take pride in their work. They carve names on blocks that will never be seen. The vigorous gang, Friends of Khufu, their mark on eternity, hidden but permanent. Competition drives them. Teams race to move the most blocks. Overseers reward the fastest with extra rations. Honor matters as much as payment in this place. Finally, the pyramid reaches its full height, 146 meters. Taller than any structure will be for nearly 4,000 years, but it's not finished yet. The rough-stepped exterior must be covered. White Tura limestone arrives from quarries across the Nile. This limestone is different. Finer, purer, polished to perfection. The casing stones are fitted from top to bottom. Each is trimmed and adjusted for an impossibly tight fit. The angles are perfect. The surface becomes seamless. As the casing stones are placed, the pyramid transforms. The stepped structure disappears. Smooth faces emerge. The pyramid becomes a mountain of blinding light. The sound of stone grinding into place echoes across the plateau. Each casing stone locks perfectly with its neighbors. The surface becomes mirror smooth. The capstone is prepared with ceremony, perhaps gilded with gold, the peak that will catch the first rays of dawn. It's hauled up the final ramp with reverence. The capstone settles into place. The grinding sound is final, complete. Workers step back. 20 years of labor crystallized in this moment. They've built the impossible. The completed pyramid gleams like polished marble. The white limestone reflects the sun with blinding intensity. It can be seen from the mountains of Lebanon, a beacon of human achievement. Celebrations erupt. Beer flows freely. Meat roasts over fires. Musicians play. Workers dance. They've done what seemed impossible. They've conquered stone and sky and time itself. The Pharaoh arrives. His footsteps are the only sound as he approaches. He touches the white limestone, his eternal home, his stairway to the stars. Perfect. Workers receive their final payment. Land grants, gold for master craftsmen, recognition for years of service. Their families will prosper from this labor. The ramps are dismantled. The sound of destruction follows creation. Mud bricks are removed. The worker city slowly empties. The pyramid stands alone as it was meant to. Workers leave handprints in wet plaster on hidden surfaces. A final signature. We were here. We built this. Remember us. The marks remain, concealed within the structure. Families depart. Fathers show sons the specific blocks they moved. That one and that one there. The pride is immeasurable. They've touched immortality. Time passes. The pharaoh dies. The funeral boat glides up the Nile in silence. The sound of oars dipping in water. The final journey to the tomb. The burial chamber receives its divine occupant. Treasures are sealed inside. The sound of granite blocks sliding into place. Passages are sealed. Forever. Centuries pass. The casing stones are eventually stolen. The grinding sound of them being pried away echoes through the ages. The smooth surface is lost, but the pyramid endures. Through earthquakes, through sandstorms, through the rise and fall of empires. The sound of wind whistling around its edges is eternal. Modern tourists arrive, their footsteps on ancient stone, cameras clicking, voices speaking 100 languages. The wonder remains unchanged across millennia. The pyramids stand as they have for 45 centuries. Silent now. No more sounds of construction, no more chisels striking stone, just the wind and time. But if you listen carefully, you can almost hear them. The workers, the sound of copper on limestone, the rhythm of the drum, the grinding of stones, sliding into place. This is how the pyramids were built. Not with magic, not with mystery, but with sound. The sound of human determination. The sound of 2 million blocks finding their place. The sound of eternity being constructed one strike at a time.